This is Stewart Rhodes, founder and president of Oath Keepers. I want to make a comment about the Hammond situation in Oregon. Something most folks I don't think understand is that the Hammond family has declined help, and in fact is making it very clear they do not want any kind of a standoff with the feds, and they do not want to try to prevent themselves from going and serving their sentence out. They intend to turn themselves in and serve out the remainder of their sentence. This has been made clear by their own attorney. It's also made it very clear that Hammond Bundy does not speak for them. Now, why this has to be said is that, unfortunately, Hammond has not made that clear. He has put out a statement just last couple of days calling for people to go there and defend the family. He says here, I'm asking you now to come to Burns and defend this family and defend this county. But he's not making it clear that the Hammond family does not want that done. They wanted to just turn themselves in and go serve their sentence. It'd be much like in the Kim Davis situation. We offered her our assistance, our protection against the U.S. Marshals for being able to arrest her again under contempt orders from the court. We thought that was illegitimate. We offered our protection, and we were willing to go there with rifles in hand and stop them. But she declined our offer. Through her attorneys, she let it be known that she did not want our help. So we stood down and went home. We do not have the right to force ourselves on people who do not want our help. So that's ground zero on this. They have not asked for our help. In fact, quite the contrary, they've let it be known that they just want to go turn themselves in and serve out their sentence. So we have no right, none of us do, no patriot has any right to force a confrontation around that family when they don't want it. So to me, that's a no-brainer and should be the end of the discussion. Now, beyond that, there's also some very serious differences in this case and at Bundy Ranch. We went to Bundy Ranch to prevent that family from being Waco'd. We were concerned by the behavior of the feds with their special forces contractors and their known sniper teams they were deploying against cowboys and the free speech zone they set up and all that kind of abuse that was right there in front of us on camera. We were concerned this family was about to be Waco'd. And so it was a very righteous thing to go down there and prevent that. And that was our full justification for what we did, was to go there and prevent mass murder of his family. I think that was righteous, and I'm glad we did it. Even though there were some problems that came out of that, it was worth it. With this situation here, there is no threat of the family being murdered. There's been already a jury trial. They were found guilty by a jury, it appears. And you don't have local support. You've got, in fact, locals now standing up and saying they don't want anybody from outside coming in and interfering, and the family themselves don't want the help. So this is exactly the opposite of Bundy Ranch. You've got a situation where you've got people who don't want this, and you've got outsiders trying to force it on them. So I think we need to stay out of it. If it's only a matter of peaceful protest, of course, that'd be fine. That's righteous and good to go. But you cannot go there and force a confrontation with rifles in hand when the family does not want the assistance. So I think Oath Keepers need to stay the hell out of it, aside from the peaceful protest. But that's not what I see developing. In Hammond's own video statement, he talks about calling on those who went to Bundy Ranch to go there to Oregon and take a stand in defense of the family. It does not sound like a peaceful protest. That sounds like an armed confrontation. So Hammond needs to be clear about what he wants so people know what they're getting themselves into. So far, he has not been clear. But Oath Keepers will not be involved in an armed standoff that's being manufactured by potheads who want a fight, because this is going to be a bad fight, not a righteous, moral high ground fight. Stay out of it. So now I've got a couple other people here who are at Bundy Ranch. We got Todd from Idaho, Rick from Montana, and also one of the guys, John, who was at the White Hope Mine in Lincoln, Montana. So Todd, you want to say your piece on this?
Well, I'm in full support of a peaceful protest. I think that what is happening to the Hammonds is a travesty. I think the BLM have overstepped their bounds once again in this matter. But we do have a precedent. There has been a jury trial. They've served time for that. I believe it's a travesty to send them back to prison again. And I'm in full support of a peaceful protest. But I do have some concerns that this may be manufactured and be heading towards more than just a peaceful protest. What I saw in the situation with the Bundy Ranch as I watched it unfold, and my friends and I performed our due diligence on that situation, and we came to a conclusion that the BLM was acting completely inappropriate and tyrannical. Throwing a woman to the ground, tasering Hammond, sticking an attack dog on him, pointing sniper rifles at cowboys, arresting one of the Bundy sons. Obviously, that was tyranny right on our computer screens, and we got to see that. And my line in the sand for the Bundy Ranch was when I saw the First Amendment area. That was a complete red flag, complete abrogation of the Constitution of the United States. And at that point, I loaded my gear and went there to defend not just the Bundy Ranch or the Bundys. The Bundys aside, it was to me about the Constitution of the United States. And concerning this issue, I've not seen travesties occurring other than the BLM burning some of that grassland out there, which is some of those people should be put in jail for burning down houses and killing cattle. But, and that needs to be handled in a separate way. But the Hammonds have not asked for our assistance. The community has not asked for our assistance. The U.S. Attorney has stated that if there's any interference with the apprehension of the Hammonds, that it'll be handled probably violently. I am in full support of the Hammonds. I think that this is a complete travesty, but I do not feel that this is another Bundy Ranch or Bundy 2, as some people are calling it, due to the fact that there was a jury of his peers, and they are not asking for our help. They have subjected themselves to the authorities and are saying that they're going to serve out their sentence. So who am I to interject myself into it other than a peaceful protest, which I am in full agreement that a protest is fine. But anything more than a peaceful protest, if there's any weapons brought out, I see that we being the Patriot community, could have some serious repercussions. Some friends of mine have stated that the federal government will not continue to lose every time. And if there is an escalation of force, this will be their perfect excuse to stamp it out. And once again, I think it's a travesty. But I've been to the Sugar Pine Mine, the White Hope Mine, and I stood in the gap for an old Army vet who they were trying to take his guns from him because they felt that he was incompetent of handling his own affairs. And I stood in the gap for those people because they asked me to be there, and they wanted me there armed. These folks aren't even asking for a peaceful protest. We're putting together a peaceful protest on our own, and I pray that it stays peaceful and that this thing goes off without a hitch. But I have some serious concerns with some of the people that are on the ground that are actively pushing for an armed confrontation. So I pray that cooler heads will prevail in this situation, and that this will turn out to be just a peaceful protest and nothing more. So, gentlemen, whoever's listening to this, please handle this with kid gloves, because from my contacts, it looks like there may be some hotheads or provocateurs that may want more than just a peaceful protest. So I'm in full support, like I said, of the Hammonds and everybody on the ground there, as long as it's a peaceful protest. And so I hope it ends up, guys. So good luck. I'd be there if I could. But I have some concerns. So
thanks, I appreciate that. Rick, go ahead.
What Todd said is exactly my same feelings. I can't add to that or anything. He brought up all the points that I would want to bring up also.
All right, thank you, Rick. Any comments on the situation here with the Hammonds?
Well, with the Hammonds, that's a losing situation. If I was a 3%er or a Oath Keeper, I would stay completely away from that situation. I would not have anything to do with it. I I would not show up there with arms or anything else.
All right, so let's go to John now. John, any comments on the Hammond situation?
Well, much like my friends have already said, I don't like what's happened to them. I do think it's an injustice. Without them asking, and they've clearly made it, they have made it clear that they don't want any assistance. So without them asking, I don't see what we can do for them. I agree with a peaceful protest, but as far as showing up armed, and I think it's a bad idea. I think bad things are going to come from it. Until this family asks for help, or anybody for that matter asks for help, who are we to interject ourselves in the situation? At White Hope, we were asked to help. We went there. We realized very quickly that we didn't need to have a ton of armed guys there, and we de-escalated. We did not make the situation worse. We helped the miners out, and we would have been happy to do this for this family too, but they don't want our help. And again, who are we to put ourselves in there and say, no, we're going to help you whether we like it or not, whether you like it or not.
Right.
I pray, like Todd, that people keep cool heads and do just what they say they're going to do, which is a peaceful protest, which I'm 100% behind. But until someone asks for our help, I don't think we have the right to be there.
Right, just like the guys in, the Bundys asked for our help. We went. The Sugar Pine Mine miners went to a public meeting of both keepers there in Josephine County and requested help, and we helped them. The folks in Ferguson, we went and asked them if they wanted our protection. They said yes, but if they'd have said no, we could not force ourselves onto the rooftops and protect them anyway. Same situation here, just like with Kim Davis. When she said no, we had no choice but to stand down. I think that's the same situation here. So thank you guys for your input. Any closing comments on this, John? About the one thing Mike Vanderbilt said in the wake of Bundy Ranch, he said, look, when you play brinkmanship, eventually one of them is going to go hot. And so you can expect that eventually the fight's going to come to us. But how it comes to us matters. And I encourage everyone listening to go back and look at the founders as your example of how to do it right. If you're going to have a fight, let it be like Concord and Lexington, where they forced Gage to come after them out in the countryside to be the clear aggressor where he was weak and they were strong. And so they had a moral high ground, they had a moral victory, and then they kicked his ass all the way back to Boston, so they had a military victory also. You don't start it off with having the bad guys have the perceived moral high ground. And who's your audience? Your audience is your fellow American patriot, and especially the guys in current service in the military. What they think matters. At Bundy Ranch, we had the clear moral high ground, as Todd has already pointed out. If there had been a fight there, if there had been a firefight on that day, at least half the military would have sided with us. Guarantee it. They'd have sided with us. This is a different situation. Here, where it's perceived as outsiders forcing a confrontation on a family that doesn't want it and forcing themselves into a community that does not want them there, and going against the jury's verdict will be perceived as having the least amount of legitimacy that you can possibly imagine. And so you wind up with a moral defeat and probably a physical defeat as well, because you can bet the feds are going to have sniper teams deployed wherever the Hammonds are planning on turning themselves in. So anybody who's thinking they're going to cause the Second American Revolution and kicking it off here in this situation in Oregon, you need to take a good hard look at what the founders did and the way to do it right and the way to do it wrong. So you need to make sure that you have the moral high ground. And don't worry, guys, the fight's coming to you eventually. Let it come to you on your terms where they are the aggressors, not you being one of the aggressors and forcing a fight. Well, thanks, guys. And look, the men on the phone here are guys who are showing up. These are not people that just talk and don't walk their talk. They show up. So take it from them. These are people who are serious. All right, guys. Exactly. God bless you, and thank you for your service to your country and our cause. And we just hope that people will listen and cooler heads will prevail. And like I said, I didn't want to make this recording. The last thing I want to do is criticize the work of other good people. And I think Ann Bundy's a good man. I think he needs to be real clear and honest about what he's doing. If he wants an armed confrontation, he should just say it. But he should also make it very clear the family does not want that, and he's going against their wishes. And I think he's wrong in doing that. I hate to say it, because he's a good man.
He is.
All right, good night, folks.